This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com.
Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. It is 2/15/23, show 466. Well, we got the CPI number, Nick, and things are just peachy.
Yeah, it looks like things are peachy. That number was released yesterday morning at 8:30 a.m. The market really seemed to struggle on how to interpret that report. It was like a whipsaw Tuesday. We had a gap lower open, then a big surge, then a move to new lows. Then the market rallied up by the closing bell and ended flat. Hence the old saying, it's not how they open, but how they close. So far, the trend in the overall market still remains up, and stocks are battling this week to continue to climb. But, again, it's Options X, and we'll see what we get out here. There's a lot of game playing going on during the week of Options X. And as I always say, expect the unexpected.
All right, the unexpected. Well, the CPI number, they can basically got a headline that they can tout basically that things are getting better, right? Everything's working according to plan.
Yeah, they're saying that, inflation is coming down, but, they changed the number, and that's the real discrepancy. So, the formula, I should say. So the formula has been changed again. It's that old saying, if the shoe doesn't fit, let's make it fit. So a lot of people are starting to read between the headlines there, and they're saying, hey, you know what? I'm at the grocery store, and it doesn't look like things are so cheap. I'm at the gas pump. That's starting to creep up a little bit again. Maybe this inflation story isn't going away so soon. And, the Fed says that their mandate is to get inflation down to 2%. I remember when, we couldn't get 2% inflation, and their mandate was to get it up to 2%. And it winded up going a lot further than that. So, again, this is an amazing story when you think about it. But really, if you're a trader, what you want to do is follow that 2-year Treasury note yield. And that's been starting to creep higher. And in my opinion, that's problematic for the central bank. And that's really where we are right now. The 2-year Treasury note yield is at 4.612%. And again, if that starts creeping up to 4 3/4 or 5%, the Fed is way behind, and they have to play a lot of catch up. So again, that will keep them raising rates, in my opinion.
All right, so there's no relief from the latest numbers.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. When I don't really look into those numbers very deeply. I look into the market. And I see the market starting to give us a lot of topping patterns out here. And I think that's problematic. I mean, I think we still could have another surge here, but you're starting to see indexes rolling over. And when I start to see that, that's when my antennas go up. And I think we're at that stage now.
All right. So earnings, what's doing with earnings?
Well, we got lots of earnings still pouring in. I just wanted to mention one of the big ones that are coming out next week is going to be Nvidia. I believe it's out next Wednesday. Now, remember, the market is closed this coming Monday for President's Day. So we'll have Nvidia out on Wednesday, and everybody is watching that. Probably the most important semiconductor stock in the market. Now, this stock has had a big run up. Nvidia has really had a tremendous rally in the month of January and even into February. So, again, I think a lot of the good news, if there is good news, is priced in. If there's bad news, I mean, this thing's going to take a nosedive. So, again, that's your next big earnings announcement that everybody should try to key up on, as you have the Apples and the Googles and the Microsofts have already reported. So, NVIDIA is next week, and that'll pretty much conclude earnings season for the most part. We'll still get other earnings, but that's the last big one that everybody will be focusing on.
Hey, do you remember once upon a time that pretty much Intel was the most important semiconductor company in the world?
Sure, I remember when
fallen.
That's right. Intel was once the bellwether semiconductor, and all eyes were on it like nobody's business. And today, nobody even cares about Intel. In fact, Intel's competitor, AMD, has surpassed it. And, Intel's just a mere memory for now. Maybe one day it'll reemerge, but nobody even cares about Intel any longer.
All right. Well, that's just the way it works. I mean, look, IBM was once the bellwether, and now nobody cares about IBM. And I just, NVIDIA, it's kind of the Tesla, indirect Tesla play as well. I mean, look, crypto mining, NVIDIA chips are really required for it. But in terms of AI and everything else that's going ahead, it looks like NVIDIA has a lock.
Yeah, they are probably the most significant chip play out there at this point in time, without a doubt. And they're also into graphic cards and gaming and things like that. They really cover such a wide spectrum. And as you mentioned, the AI front, which is all the rage right now. Everybody will be waiting to see what kind of news they talk about, with AI. So you're 100% right. They are at the forefront of it all, and that's why I wanted to bring that up. That company reports next Wednesday, and that'll probably conclude, the earnings season. So, they leave that one for last. But the semiconductors, as you know, Kerry, for me, is such a leading industry group. They're in everything that we do, and they're such an important part of our everyday life. So you got to watch that industry group first and foremost, and they're a great leading indicator as well.
Yeah, yep, for sure. And not to mention their fact, Tesla is a huge consumer of their chips for all of their AI, cars, self-driving, all that stuff. So they're really at the forefront. Hey, so gold under pressure again. What's your take on it?
Yeah, even on Monday's show, we talked about how I said, gold has to get down to around 1830. Right now we're at low around 1840. So again, it has lower to go. There'll be some support there at that level. It's not major, but there's a lot of support at 1800. And I think gold is in the midst of a correction here. And if it turns into something more, we'll eventually get down to my 1500 level, which I've been, promising really since, I guess, the highs were made back in March of 2022. So again, pretty good retreat for gold. But remember, there's a war going on in Russia and Ukraine. And that, if that escalates and turns into what many believe is the start of World War III right now, you're hearing that more and more as we look at all these people out there saying, hey, NATO's involvement is provoking World War III. If that is the case, people may run to gold sooner. So we have to watch the chart pattern. But right now, gold is retreating.
And not to mention, we're in the midst of an interstellar war potentially as well, right?
Yeah, we have an interstellar war going on with balloons. I mean, everybody points to like Star Trek. I just don't see that happening. I honestly don't even believe in that stuff. I think these guys, this balloon thing is just so far-fetched now. I really have a hard time grasping it. Why would you even shoot down a balloon with a missile when you could pop it with a pin and waste all that money? And the other part is, why would you take a balloon down with a missile when you don't know what's in it? I mean, I remember reading a book one time where, a balloon was filled with virus spores. Why would you shoot it down? It doesn't make any sense to me. And, this is just an upside down world.
Hey, you remember Project Bluebeam, right?
That's right. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there was stuff on the internet about it on YouTube. I'll never forget. I watched a video and said the guy is like a credible person, former government, whatever. And he said that I know this is far-fetched and you're not going to believe it, but they're going to make us believe that the world is being attacked by aliens to try to unite, Yeah,
unite all the nations. And yeah. I mean, it's, I wouldn't put anything past anything anymore. It's just, the things that we've seen, the funny thing is, this Ohio explosion, train derailment, it's a horrific event. And, I have people many members in Ohio sending me lots and lots of videos of how bad this is, and it's barely getting reported on in the media. And then this, same week we had a train derailment, I believe, in South Carolina, another one in Houston, Texas. I mean, I have family members that are in the railroad business, and they said the odds of that happening, 3 train derailments in a week from big companies, is like hitting the lottery. And I just find it rather fascinating. We're living in this time or this day and age, and this kind of stuff is going on.
Yeah, it's nuts. But regularly, every year, there's something like 1,700 train derailments throughout the country. But hey, who the heck knows? I don't know the answer here, but I do know that you can't trust them, and this is really peculiar. So
yeah, that's
so
pretty
that
much
much
it right there.
you could say for sure. So hey, in the midst of all the peculiarity, Bitcoin's holding up pretty well, isn't it?
Yeah, Bitcoin is holding up well. And even today, where the markets are a little bit underwater, Bitcoin's actually got a pretty decent gain in here, up about 2%. So that is holding up well. I think Bitcoin right now is still looking fairly decent on a daily chart for more upside. However, when this liquidity squeeze ends, I do think that Bitcoin comes back down to not only earth, but to new lows. So I would be a little bit cautious with it in the longer term. But right now, it's inflating, and you want to give it the benefit of the doubt. So it lives to fight another day, and hence the old saying, nothing goes down in a straight line. But when this liquidity run in the stock market is over, I do think that Bitcoin will fall victim.
As we now know, it's actually a correlated asset, right?
Yes.
You wouldn't believe it, but it is.
It is. It really is. And, you can make a case that it has been, at many points in the market, right? When the market inflates, Bitcoin inflated the most during the 2020 injection of liquidity. And, that really was one of the catalysts to get everybody on board back then. And then when the market deflated, obviously, Bitcoin sunk like a rock, going down, I believe all the way as low as 14,900. Now here we are back at 22,800, and it's inflated pretty nicely, even from a bearish pattern. So there could be some more upside in the near term. Bigger picture, though, nothing has changed the bigger time frame charts, which ultimately say this will go down to 11,000.
All right. Well, I guess we'll leave it at that. Make sure you go over to Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com. See how he's beaten the averages for decades. Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz. Email kl@kerrylutz.com. Please leave your comments on the YouTube channel. Nick, we'll talk to you on Friday.
Sounds good, Kerry.